Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dazzling Dave. If you're new around here, basically I'm just a football fan that does videos on this channel, amongst other things, particularly of Premier League football and my team, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Obviously this particular video is something that probably any fan of football around the world, in Europe especially in the UK, are going to be thinking about right now, and that is the announcement yesterday that the Premier League, the EFL, have suspended all football until the 4th of April at the earliest. I want to go through thoughts and feelings, what could happen, what might happen, and what is likely to happen down the line in this particular video, and I also want you guys to leave your thoughts, no matter what team you're from, and how you feel and how you think it's going to affect your club and what you think should happen. So the crux of it is health and safety of people, players, is at the foremost of everything. On my channel I do quite a lot of international fan reactions from people from around the world, and the UK, are basically at this situation now where the coronavirus is really starting to take an impact. We're around about 3 to 4 weeks behind the likes of Italy and Spain, who are pretty much on complete lockdown at the moment. The government over here at this point hasn't banned mass gatherings at this particular point in time on the guidance of the science, but the Premier League and the EFL, when the players were affected, and obviously the manager of Arsenal, Arteta, has got the virus, it became pretty much impossible to even play the game behind closed doors, which again is not an ideal situation. And so they've taken the unilateral decision to suspend football in this country, and sport in general, and a lot of football associations across Europe are having to do the same sort of thing until the earliest of the 4th of April. Now, bearing in mind that in the UK, the peak of the virus, they're trying to do it in such a way that it flattens it so that the health service can cope rather than having a big spike where the hospitals just don't have the beds for intensive care. And we do know that the majority of people that get the virus do recover. It's only going to get worse and worse over the coming weeks. As I say, in the likes of Italy and Spain, where the likes of Madrid's on complete lockdown, and Italy, they can only go out and to the shops, essential services and stuff like that. Britain are around about, as I say, 4 weeks below that. So if you take that into the context of the 4th of April, which is around about 3 to 4 weeks away, or 3 weeks away, it seems to me unlikely that football will commence again at that point, because players even have to, if they're not training, they have to get up to match fitness. So I think it's unlikely personally that football will commence back in this country on the 4th of April. So it all brings into question in terms of what is going to happen with the league. My club, Wolverhampton Wanderers, we waited 40 years for European football, for Wolves to get back. We fought our way in the last 6 years from League One through the Championship, and are pushing for even for a Champions League place in the Premier League this year. We're also started qualifying for the Europa League in July, gone through 3 qualifying rounds through the league of 4, and obviously now into the knockout phase, of which we played the last game last week against Olympiacos away in a behind closed door stadium, which was a soulless game, almost like a practice game, which was a 1-1 draw, but obviously very close with the home leg coming up to getting into the quarterfinals of the Europa League, which is massive for Wolves and for any club. I know some clubs probably get European football a lot more, but we've waited 40 years. So in terms of the Premier League options, what happens if they can't start on the 3rd or 4th of April? Now, there's a few things in play here. The Premier League, I do believe, are going to be having another conference next Thursday, and by that time we'll kind of know what's happening with UEFA, and more importantly with the Euros. this year Euro 20s, which is obviously the international tournament that's scheduled for the 60th anniversary to be played in 12 countries around the world, around Europe, sorry. And it is anticipated, as much as it's going to be difficult, that the Euro 20 tournament is going to become Euro 21 and be put back a year, which to me is sensible to do, which then potentially opens up a gap to try and finish. So what happens with the league? Liverpool, clear leaders, having a fantastic, but they haven't won the league, have they, at the moment? So one of the things is, if they can't get the games past play, because the peak in the UK is anticipated to be May, June sort of time when the peak hits, is what happens if we can't play these games? What do we do, and how does that affect the Premier League, Champions, the Europe things, and the relegation, and also the promotion through the divisions? So one of the options that was put on the table, I think, by Karen Brady at West Ham, is to void the league completely at this stage, and basically like it never happened. Now that would be probably really, really harsh on Liverpool, unless you're like an Everton fan or a Man United fan, which you'd probably find amusing, but you'd probably still have sympathy that Liverpool, after waiting 30 years for the title and so far clear in the league, not to win it. If you voided the league, how do you give the league to Liverpool? Because it affects the relegation positions as well, and it's almost a reset. So obviously the other thing is to try and play the league out and try and get these matches played. So moving the Euros potentially gives us an opportunity down the line, if there is a long suspension, to get the games played. There is 9 games to be played in the Premier League. Me being a Wolves fan can see us having the opportunity to, get Champions League. What with the, we're not, I think 5 points behind Chelsea, who are currently in the 4th position, and we're 2 points behind United, who are 5th, which could potentially be a Champions League, with obviously the situation going on with Manchester City, and I know they've got their appeal. So to have that taken away is hard. And then also, the teams down the bottom, they've got a lot of games to play. Now there's another option, is that we just basically take the league as it is, where we are now, and whatever the positions are, that's the end thing. But then you're relegating the likes of Norwich, Villa, who've got a couple of games in hand, and there's teams who would basically say, well, you can't relegate us, and that would, because financial implications for that is massive. So you couldn't really do that, because obviously the way they could have easier games coming up that they think they've got chances to win. They might have got some of the really top teams out of the way, and that's the course of the season. You play everybody twice, so that would be really difficult to do, to suspend and then just take the league as it is. And I don't think that's going to be an option. I know most of the clubs' preferred option is to finish the season. A lot of the revenue, I think 1/7 of match day revenue for the Premier League clubs comes from the turnstiles, but the fans make the atmosphere. And no fan really wants not to go and watch the team, and watching that game against Olympiacos on the TV on Thursday, it was soulless. But again, is that the worst of? Is that the better of the two options to get the season completed at some point, which would be in the summer, where the Euros? Then it comes on to the issue that if it does go past June, you've got the scenarios of player contracts, because a lot of the contracts on players run till the end of June, but I think you'd be able probably to extend contracts. Me personally, I think getting the season completed one way or another, even if it runs way back into the end of the summer, is the only way. Because you look at the teams coming up, you've got Leeds, who are on a pretty good run at the moment. They did go through a blip, they're 500, they've gone back to the top. You've got Albion, who are just behind them, and there's another proposal that Albion and Leeds, no relegation, Albion and Leeds come up to make 22 in the Premier League for next season. I mean, the Albion and Leeds fans will probably be quite happy with that, because they get their promotion. But then you look at the likes of Fulham, who are just 6 points behind second place, and are very capable of, I think there's 27 points still up for for availability in the Championship, and you feel that would be very harsh on them. And then you look at the playoff places to get in the Premier League. Preston, who are in 6th, are only 6 points clear of QPR, who are in 13th. And there's all these scenarios, and then you go down to the League One and the League Two sides as well with their promotion and relegations. The ideal thing, you've got to try and finish it somewhere or the other, even if there's a long break. Do you not think, or not? Because there could be so many lawsuits and things and that going on. So that's the other way to look at. And also the thing is as well, with the League One and League Two sides, they're anticipating on losing between sort of £300,000 to £500,000 worth of revenue. The lower league teams would be seriously struggling, and we saw with the likes of Bury and Bolton nearly going out of existence recently in terms of cash flow, how important it is for the lower league. So there'll probably be something put together to help them out, you'd think. And then how do the UEFA conclude the likes of the Europa League and the Champions League? Wolves, as I say, nearly in the last 8. If they can get over Olympiacos fans will obviously hope they can do the same as they did to Arsenal. They'll want to conclude that tournament. Okay, there's probably ways would they do that in a one-game situation. Could they have a little mini club tournament in the summer? You know, somewhere to get these games played. I don't know, but just voiding the league, to me, is going to cause so many problems. So how are you feeling? What ideas and suggestions are you giving as a fan of a team, whether you're Premier League, whether you're in Championship or League One? How does it affect your club, and what would you want to happen? At the end of the day, the coronavirus is a serious pandemic outbreak, and you have to take all steps possible to protect everyone. My dad is 82 years of age, mad Wolves fan. You see him on my vlogs. My mum's 80. She had an art operation a couple of years ago and that she's, you know, I worry about my mum and my dad, and you know, myself, I have an underlying medical condition with chronic myeloid leukemia, which I am in remission. But you know, you have all of these stresses, everyday life, football. I think Jurgen Klopp said, really good quote, that it is the most important of the least important things. It's so important to people, but at the end of the day, it's just football. So I just thought I'd just make this little video about how I'm feeling. You know, I hope that there is some way that the even if personally it does get extended into the summer, that the whole competition can be sorted out in one way or that. I do expect Euro 20 to become Euro 21, and then you can worry about next season and when they start that and what they do with that. But concluding the season one way or another, I think has got to be the best answer, because it just solves everything. But again, when and how that will be is yet to be seen. So yeah, I hope you've found this video interesting, and I hope you leave some comments below as well and give me your thoughts on this, and I'll try and follow up again when we know a little bit more. And if you're brand new around here, hopefully you'll follow my channel as well. And yeah, until the next one, I'm Dazzling Dave, always Wolves.